Welcome to the Forgotten Frontier. My name is Siami and I'm your host. Since our last episode, the Ministry of Home Affairs have had two meetings with the Kuki-Zo SoO groups. We are joined today by Dr. Seilen Haokip, the spokesperson of KNO, to update us on these meetings. Good afternoon, Dr. Seilen. Welcome to the Forgotten Frontier. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Sammy. Good to be back here at the studio of Forgotten Frontier. And thank you that we can have this opportunity so that we can touch on issues that had transpired at the beginning of this month. As you mentioned, two meetings with MHA in Delhi. And this time, it's a continuation from the previous meetings. And if you can contextualize that, it's important. It is the first of the initiative from MHA on resuming the SOO and political dialogue process. And just to recap, at the last podcast, which was the very first since 3rd of the incidents that have been ongoing for 2 years, especially after that break of the state of Manipur, the cabinet taking that unilateral decision on abrogating SOO, a peace initiative. And so, why the state is against peace, that is something that people have to figure out. However, in this resumption of talks meetings, we had several last month and before, and this month in July, on the 4th of July, MHA called another meeting, and this time it was specifically to do with the designated camps consolidation and relocation. And I think it is important to mention why government or MHA wanted the consolidations of camps and relocation. It is to sort of minimize or avoid areas that are vulnerable or potential for violence to erupt. For instance, there are three UNLFP camps, two located in Kampopi and one in Tengnopal. And those are not ideal if you are going to create an atmosphere that is conducive for avoiding violence. And similarly, in our case, the designated camps that were already set up in 2008, given the change in scenario after May 2023, the need to relocate and consolidate to avoid any kind of situation that would lend itself easily to violence being generated. So that was very important on MHA's agenda. And MHA had suggested that of the 14 camps UPF and KNO each have 7 designated camps. And they wanted us to close, each umbrella organization to close 2 and relocate a few. So that process had been deliberated upon from the previous meetings or when we had that last podcast. And once government's proposals for consolidation of camps, they didn't identify which camps to close, that they left to us. But relocation, they did have some proposals. This should be elsewhere. And so we took the matter back to our constituents, and after looking at government's proposal and looking at our interests also, we had come up with a proposal from our side as to which camps will close, which will be merged, and the numbers from 7 to 5 for KNO would be deliberated upon, and relocations from this point to the other, some slightly different from the government's proposal, was brought back on the 4th of July, and the two proposals from MHA and ours were discussed. And from the ground report given by the joint recce comprising MHA and the SIB and the local state police and the SOO group, they had visited the spot for relocation and for setting up the new camps based on 4 camps of ours being closed down, merged from 4 to 2 to bring the entire number from 7 to 5, were thoroughly discussed. And given the positive proposal by the MHA and ours likewise, positive as well, we did not spend too much time on that issue, and we were able to decide which camps close, which camps are relocated, and that meeting on the 4th went off very well indeed. And as far as the KNO side is concerned, that was settled. Now, if I may make a comment or two on the UPF side, they also have 7, and government wanted them also to close 2. And of the constituents, I think there are 8. Altogether, they have 7 camps. And 5 out of the 7 are shared amongst a mix of the constituents of UPF and the other 2 as well by their own constituents. The interesting thing was of the 7 camps, 5 shared by the different constituents of UPF were standalone camps. And it turned out, just like in the KNO, it's KNA that has 3 camps and then the rest have 1 each. Similarly, in UPF, ZRA has 3 camps and the rest have 1 each only. So it was incumbent upon KNO also to, be accommodative to MHA's proposal, and in the interest of what we are trying to forge ahead in terms of finding a way forward to a political solution. So, as I mentioned, KNO's side was fairly easily resolved. But with respect to the UPF, the ZRA, who has 3 camps, were asked to, government proposed that they close any of the 2 out of the 3. But the information I got was that UPF did not want to close any of the camps. And the reasoning given was that they are far removed from the Meitei settlements, and therefore they were not a threat to any kind of violence erupting because of their camps. And that sounds reasonable. But the other side, from MHA's point of view, if I may summarize, is if you're not near the Meitei settlements, then all the more reason why you should be closing 2 camps, because you are not a threat to violence erupting from your locations. So these are the 2 points of view that I mentioned from what I've heard, the ZRA standpoint and the MHA standpoint. So now, on the 4th, when we settled on the consolidation and relocation of camps, it was all conclusive minus the ZRA's camps. So we signed an agreement on that count. 2 representatives of the government, one from MHA and the other from the state government, represented from the governor's office. And then from our side, the 2 spokespersons from UPF and KNO signed, and that deal was concluded. And on that day, of course, ZRA didn't come because they didn't want to close 2 camps. So it was minus them, unfortunately. But they have better reasons for not participating, so I can't comment on that. That's their prerogative. However, now having completed that part of the uh, camp issues, MHA then broached on the SO ground rules that needed to be revisited and worked out before we signed the extension. And having spent a good fair amount of time on the camps issues, on that day there was, I think, not enough time left to deliberate on the SO side. And so we did not uh, continue on the 4th, and we met again the following week on Monday, the 7th, I think it was. And there we, yes, discussed a fair amount. And um, given the nature of our demand shifting from what it was pre 3rd May 2023, which was Territorial Council within Manipur, now from post 3rd May 2023, our demands have shifted to UT with legislature. The preamble needed to be looked at again, and certain revisions or modifications needs to be required. We discussed at length, and MHA's representative, who chairs the meeting, said, "Okay, so he will reformulate that part, and we should meet again to finalize on this part." And the projected date for meetings to continue was 14th or 15th of this month. But towards the end of last week, because of other um, engagements, the 14-15 meeting can't happen, and therefore I'm back. Okay. And when those meetings will be held, we're not being informed yet. So in terms of the technicalities of SOO and the necessary arrangements for talks, preparations for talks, those are what have transpired. But here I'd like to make a comment on two, although it's self explanatory by now, that SOO issues, as in 2008, we spent a lot of time making sure the ground rules were mutually favorable. And after all, the objective is to find a political solution within the Constitution of India. So there was no need for any kind of, there to be any kind of imbalance or obstacles for the efforts to arrive at a political settlement. So the same spirit continues because although our demands have shifted from TC to UT, it's still within the constitutional framework, so it makes it a lot easier to go forward. Nonetheless, we do need to iron out a couple of things in the preamble as well as in the other nitty-gritties, which will not take too much time. And hopefully, the next meeting, the MHA's representative will come up with a new formulation, and all being well, we should be going forward. Because, as I mentioned in the last podcast, I am aware that government is serious about taking our issues forward so that a settlement can be reached sooner than later, and to ensure that normalcy returns in that neck of the woods. Now, that part will probably take longer than one might envisage, but it is necessary also. And to make sure that we arrive at an amicable political settlement, again, I reiterate the importance of the SO ground rules and the preamble being totally sound. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Seilen, for the detailed update. In the last few days, there were several posts floating around social media platforms. One was supposedly a notice put out by IB, and the other one was quoting Mr. A.K. Mishra about ZRA and their refusal to reduce the number of camps. Zerare was not present in the last two meetings, right?
Yes, they were not present on the day of finalizing the CAM consolidation and relocation.
And this was due to ZRA's refusal to relocate or to reduce the number of camps that they have. You've given us a detailed account on why the government wants to consolidate, reduce SOO camps. My other question is regarding the notice that Kuki-Impi had put out recently. In that notice, they had demanded that the Kuki-Zo MLAs should resign. What was that notice about? Can you tell us something about it? Give us your take.
Okay, let's deal with the first question first. What appeared on WhatsApp about the Zerari CAMS issue? And I think Mr. A.K. Mishra's name had featured in that caption that was put out. No, that is complete fake. It was created by some person who has a creative imagination and wanted to entertain himself or herself. So that can be pushed aside. Now, secondly, on the KIM statement regarding formation of government and the non-participation of the Kuki-Zo MLAs, that was supposed to have been an internal circulation in the context of KZC, the apex civil society organization of the Kuki-Zo people, having requested from the constituent bodies their take, their views on the formation of government. And so they prepared this statement to be submitted to KZC. Unfortunately, it leaked. Why it leaked, how it leaked, I don't know. But that did create a lot of, unnecessary commotion. I mean, the commotion is justifiable because people believe this is not appropriate. Because a statement like that could come out only from KZC. Now, KIM had prepared it to be submitted to KZC. The problem was it leaked. The content itself is their point of view based on what KZC wanted to know of their stand with respect to the formation of government. So that was unfortunate, but I think it has been sorted out internally and it's no longer an issue.
The next meeting with MHA, will it be happening in the next few days? Has it been scheduled?
It it depends on the MHA. They will no definite. I mean, a date has not been set, uh, but there is this meeting pending in the course of the resumption of political dialogue and the necessary issues that need to be addressed. This is part of it. And depending on when the MHA finds a suitable time, they will intimate us, and then we should hopefully be able to complete it in one day's meeting.
Dr. Seilen, you have covered in detail about these most recent meetings you've had with the MHA in Delhi. Is there anything else that you would like to put out to our listeners?
I think, yes, we've covered the details of the areas that we have, been talking about. I would like to make one appeal, though, to the media. The issues involved with respect to SOO and the political demand that we have to, alleviate the plight of the people is a very serious, sensitive matter. It's delicate. It's affecting thousands of lives. And this is the only official channel that government has put in place for the issues to be deliberated upon with the SOL groups. So if media could be supportive of the processes involved, if they have things that they want to know to be explained fair enough, please do so with the right channels concerned. And if we could minimize the misinformation and the sometimes deliberate intention to create havoc, which does not serve anybody, especially, what comes to mind is the IDPs. They are suffering, they are languishing. We want to see them, lead normal lives, uh, even under circumstances such as I am able to, by God's grace. I live in a rented house, but I'm not an IDP. And there are 45,000 odd and another 15,000 in the valley. We shouldn't be playing with their lives. I think this is something that I like to appeal, that messages, posts on social media and media should be constructive and supportive in the interest of alleviating the plight of the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Seilen, for coming to the Forgotten Frontier and giving us these important updates. We wish you all the best for your next meetings. Thank you for listening to the Forgotten Frontier. We are so grateful for all the support and to all our subscribers. Do stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you for watching.